No, you do it. All right. Let's open in prayer first. Father, thank you for this day, for this opportunity to come here, do the business of this county, and we thank you for the freedoms that are allowed in our country and our county, and ask that you just give us wisdom as we make these decisions. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the
United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Brunnan.
Here.
Brady.
Here.
Nutt.
Here.
Johnston.
Here. Approve the minutes from the last meeting, October 7th.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
Do you want to do these on two separate approvals?
Yes, yes, please.
So we'll do the regular meeting first, and then we'll do the special.
I will support a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of October 7th, 2020.
Is there support?
I'll second it.
Moved and supported. Any discussion? All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. All those opposed say no. Motion carries.
And I would move now to approve the minutes of the public hearing held October 7th, 2020 for the CBDG grant.
Support?
I will second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
All those opposed say no. Motion carries. Public comment, 3 minutes per person.
Be happy to start this thing off.
Mrs. Anders?
Chris Anderson, local resident, secretary of the Alcona County Republican Party, member of the Sanctuary 2A Amendment movement, which is what I would like to address today. I'm sure you all thought it would never happen, but 5 days ago, Jocelyn Benson called your bluff. She decided that we cannot open carry at any of the polling places in Michigan this year, or we will be arrested by the state police. This is unconstitutional. It is illegal. There have already been several county sheriffs that have gone on record as saying, I can't enforce that. That's not a law. I enforce the law. That is not a law. So again, I'd like to ask you to please support your county constituents and declare Alcona County a constitutional sanctuary Second Amendment county. And at this point, if you don't believe that they might be coming after our guns, if Trump doesn't get elected, you can bet your boots they will. Personally, if we don't get your support this time, you won't have my support anymore either. And Craig, you can have your sign back. Okay? Enough said. We trust you people to support us. We're law-abiding citizens. We want Lansing to know that we are law-abiding citizens, and that means law-abiding citizens. Thank you.
May I ask a question? I know we don't normally during, okay.
Sure.
No, he's saying no, so
okay.
I will respect that.
Well, I don't.
He's the chairman. Go
So,
ahead.
yeah, as it stands right now, we have not heard back from either the prosecutor or the sheriff on where their position is and how they feel on it. We said that, I think that was the feelings of the board, that they wanted to hear from the sheriff and the prosecutor on what their feelings were. So, any other public comment?
Just missed my speech. I did. Public comment. I always arrive just on time for public comment. I know, God. I don't know, 5 minutes isn't too bad.
Are you on?
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Carrie Mullins, Mankato Township, Alcona County Republicans Chair. We are having our monthly meeting October 26th, Monday, 7 p.m. at the Chosen Ranch Community Center. And that will be the final meeting before the election, November 3rd. I would like to point out that in the Alcona County Review, There is a letter to the editor that y'all might want to look at. And then we'll also have the Alcona County Republicans Convention in November. We haven't decided on a date, whereupon we will elect our executive committee. All paid members are welcome to run for office and vote at that meeting. And that's what's going on with us. All right.
Thank you. Any other public comment? All right, hearing none. Presentations, Troy?
Yes, I'm here for the designated assessor. I'm sure you guys got that on your desk. I know I hand delivered it to Gary and Carolyn. Hopefully you'll get a chance to look at it a little more thorough. But we are moving forward with that. We're waiting for, we're kind of coordinating with Alpena. Ted Summers and I are kind of both heading up. He's the director of Alpena. And the gentleman you'll see in there is Alan Berg. He has several units right now. He's been a hearing referee for the tribunal and stuff like that. So I think he's a good guy to have. But you guys have to let me know if you, once you read it, you agree with it, to move forward on it. Because I need to know it's gotta be, we gotta have to have somebody in place by the end of the year. So I don't know if you got a chance to look at it. I know I put it on your desk and Dan's.
Tell me
I
again
didn't- I
the
didn't
title
read it.
of the person we're approving,
It's
the formal,
designated assessor.
pardon me?
Designated assessor.
Designated assessor, okay,
And the county has to have one in place
right.
by the end of the year.
So you're making a recommendation that it be this guy,
Yes,
what you would recommend?
yes.
Hey, Craig.
Yes.
Just a quick question for you, Troy. Was this because of the assessor's bill that passed last year and?
You'll see I put the bill in there that they have, but yes, it's kind of more or less, if they don't pass their AMARs and they don't follow through with the AMARs, then we have somebody to step
But I
in
wanna
place.
say that was
Yes.
as a result of that big
Yes.
to-do we were having over,
Yes.
yes.
Basically, but I think we do have a new assessor on board in Curtis now, which is Alan Berg. He's taken over Curtis. So otherwise, but I think for the most part, our assessors, I mean, most of them, and the only issue we had was at the one time was in Curtis, but they picked up their thing too, and now they got a new assessor, so all the other townships are looking really good, so I don't anticipate this being anything, and there is no retainer fee for this gentleman on this, so that's nice, unless, unless they fail, then there's fees in this. As you'll notice, there's blanked out spots till you guys say yes, go ahead with this. I gave it to Tom Weichel, he's looked at it, and Ted had some questions, so their attorney up there is looking at it, so we're kind of having basically two attorneys look at it in a way, so. So when you guys do decide, I need to file, because I'd like to have a meeting with the supervisors, and not till November, after the 20th, I think is when the new supervisors are appointed.
Has Mr. Berg, is the document they gave us, that is ready for approval?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, Alan Berg has looked at it with Ted, so
okay. You said
Ted's
that,
just making sure with
Yeah.
their attorney that he has no questions.
and their attorney is okay with it.
Well, that's what he's waiting for, but he believes so.
So really, it's not ready for signature?
Not for us yet, but
Oh,
from
okay,
what you
okay.
say, I wanted you to see if you had any questions, because if we do, we might as well get it all done.
Oh, sure.
Instead of doing it 20
Sure,
different
okay.
times.
I think I went over this before, and I don't know, maybe I forgot. So if a township decides they're gonna get their own designated assessor, can they do
But
that?
we still have to,
Yeah, we have to have one.
correct.
All right, so we don't really need any approval from townships to designate our assessor.
If we're appointing one, they need to appoint one if they don't want to have one of ours.
So it'll be there, once we appoint one, then they could,
They have to
They
sign on,
vote?
you'll see the back page,
Okay.
they'll have where it's signed.
we're the lead on, well, I
They
mean,
could get their own and we
Okay.
can agree with it and have it there too, but we have to have one in place.
okay, do we have to agree with theirs if they get somebody different?
Well, we could still appoint Adam to, to do it. Alan Berg to still do it. To be ours, to be the county's.
Right, that'll be our designated one.
Right. That would be ours, and if they wanna appoint somebody else, I'm sure Alan Berg would just drop it, and we would probably take we'd work together, that's why I'm planning.
Okay, that's why we're
meeting
gonna have
in
that meeting
November.
with the supervisors.
Correct, that's why I'm having that.
So at that meeting, we're gonna drop an agreement. If they choose to go with our designated assessor,
Correct.
they're gonna sign on and say, yep, we're with the county.
Correct.
Or we're not with the county, we're gonna get our own designated assessor.
But
Correct,
that's a separate contract.
Right, that'll be between them and their,
correct,
Okay.
correct.
got it.
But it won't be till after, like I say, till the new supervisors, cause I want the new supervisor to be on board.
course.
Because I talked to Muriel, she's not gonna be after November 20th, so there's no sense of telling
Mm-hmm. Yep.
her when Pam Mashford, I think, is the only one that's running now. So there's no sense, that's why I'm pushing it till after the 20th.
okay. All right,
But make sure you look at it, highlight something, ask me, ask Weichel, before you agree.
I think it's good as it is.
So, once I get it from Ted, that Thursday's good, I'll be back to, hopefully you guys will say, okay, it's good. And once he says it's okay to good, I'll get together and set our meeting up.
Is it all right if I
Sure.
ask a question? So there's no retainer fee for him, Troy?
There's no
Unless
retain,
you have to use.
right, and there's fees, that's what I'll be giving to the townships. Ted's aware of this, but there, in this, you'll see his fees, if he ever does
Okay.
get called on where he has to
And
do
then
it.
who pays those? The township that has to use them?
Yes, yeah, yep. So look at it, and if you have any questions, if I don't hear from you, that means we're good to roll, and then once I get it from Ted and Tom says, okay, I'll be in here for you guys to say, yeah, go forward, and I'll fill in the rest of the blanks. I mean, it has our assessment, you'll see where it has the values on there.
so I know
Not
this
in
is,
there yet.
that's probably splitting hairs, but she brought up something that reminded, will he be working for us if he gets put into a job? Or is he working for
He's-
the township?
He's working for us.
So
but the
we would
townships
end up
be paid.
billing, townships will pay the county will pay him.
We're appointing him, so he's gonna get paid by the townships. He's
Okay.
Ours.
We'll figure all that
To
out at the
cover,
time,
yeah.
but I just wonder.
But I don't think any of the, like I said, all of the units right now are in good shape.
Yeah,
So I don't anticipate this being an issue. I mean, even when we had AMARs, which is kind of the same thing, they all get, they get a letter, this is what you have to do to fix the problem. All the units have done that. So I don't anticipate it's just gonna have a person in place. That's all this is gonna be, in my opinion. So, and nothing's gonna be cost, so that's nice to hear, because some counties are getting somebody that probably have to pay a retainer fee.
mm-hmm.
So,
So it'd be in their best interest to go with the one we got,
yeah, the one where there is no
Money.
retainer fee.
right?
So, and he is not going any further than his areas that he assesses in or neighboring counties. Cause he's gonna do Alpena, he's gonna do ours. I don't know if he'll do Montmorency's or not, but I know it does ours. So. Are we all set? Make sure you look at it. Any questions, just you know where I'm at.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Troy. We got a 1 o'clock with Jennifer. Gary, you wanna present a resolution to the board?
Yes, I do.
All right.
Normally I don't. I would have bypassed on this one normally, but I am really struggling with what's going on. It's costing this county an enormous amount of money to jump through all these hoops that we have to jump through. Because we have somebody imposing rules on us and she can't do them by executive order anymore. Now she's going through regulatory agencies. We now have the Department of Health and Human Services imposing things on us. We have OSHA now talking about imposing penalties on us for non-compliance. This is after she has been told by the Michigan Supreme Court that she has gone beyond the bounds and is doing things unconstitutionally. So she's asking other people under her jurisdiction. I've seen her signature on the OSHA one specifically. It seems everybody likes to do somebody else's job. You have the Supreme Court that makes laws. You have the president issuing executive order to make rules. You got Congress acting like a social safety net for everybody else. They want to give out everybody else's money. And I figured the only prescription we have is to call this governor to task by having her impeached by the House and tried by the Senate. I realize she is not going to be removed from office, but my problem is, you know, those of us that have raised kids, if we don't punish them when they've gone beyond the lines, they continue to keep going beyond the lines. And, you know, believe me, I really hate bringing something like this up. I know it's controversial, but, you know, I mean, I look at the last resolution we got a lot of heat on. Yesterday afternoon, I was listening to WJR on the way home because I can't stand listening to this, like Sean Hannity. And yesterday, I heard them talking about having their public health directors and their county officials deal with this situation we're dealing with, the COVID situation. Now, that came from something we wrote. Now, I'm not saying we're the ones responsible for them doing it, but, you know, you kind of wonder. I mean, I've heard Wes Nakaguri talking about it using the same talking points. I mean, there's got to be a point where this individual is held accountable the right way. What has happened, you know, and people will say, well, you know, she just had that threat. Well, you know, I think when people start allowing lawless behavior, that's when that stuff starts to breed. And I'd like to not see it breed anymore. And that's my only reason for doing this. It's like, just people need to know that they need to be held accountable for the things that they're doing that are wrong, because when we keep letting things go, well, you know, then you have people coloring outside the line, so to speak. Thank you for your time, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you for bringing that forward. Thanks, Jerry. Any questions? Anybody have a? No? All right. See no other presentations. Any additions to the agenda? I have one, and I should have had stuff put it on. I forgot stuff, but so the CRLGG grant, which is the grant that we had that replaced our revenue sharing. We need to have a discussion. I don't know if it's going to result in a motion. Perhaps the treasurer and I will kind of talk about it, but on where we're going to direct those funds to go. We have to submit a report on what they're used for. You know, it's going to be payroll. Is it going to be whatever? And that. Do you remember what that date was? 20 something, wasn't it, of October?
I don't have that off the top of my head. I do have the information from the class that I asked you all to take on that online. I don't know if anyone did that.
I did,
on
yeah.
the 13th.
Yep.
So all the information is in there. It's just never been discussed.
So we need to have a discussion on that, and because we got to submit a report saying where the money went. So I'd like that to add to the new business. Anything else?
Yes. I'd like to add my resolution and the 2A resolution as well.
I would ask that we would have a closed session for union, contracts. Also would like to just share with you how the committee on the CBDG grant, and I would also ask that we, under new business, put down the approval of the Alcona County Designated Assessor, allowing you to sign pending no changes to the existing contract as it's been submitted. We've all had an opportunity to look it over. Let's just get it off of our plates. I don't think there's going to be any changes. I think it's a perfunctory thing. I have no problem with the fact that they're checking with legal. we've already checked with legal, and I just think, let's get it done. We have enough on our plates. We've had the presentation from Troy. Let's just get it done. Now, if it comes back with changes, then no, but it's not, I don't, the odds of it coming back with changes are slim to
So
none.
you'd like us to talk about the designated assessor?
Yes.
Okay.
Do we need to talk about the COVID plan or that too, or not?
I think that's in here under new
It's,
business, MIOSHA draft of
Oh, yeah, I'm
COVID-19.
sorry. I
Yeah.
need to put my glasses on.
All right. Are we very good with that?
you got my closed session.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All those in favor of the new agenda, signify by saying aye.
Yes.
Yes. Those opposed? Motion carries. All right, unfinished business, health insurance RFPs. Well, we have one that's not, right? Do we have any others?
Sealed. I don't have a 50-cent letter opener. They're hard to come by. Hold on.
Do you want to receive them, or do you want a motion to receive, or can I open it and then we'll receive it?
I would move to, I don't know who it's from, so to receive
This is from Mesa, MESSA.
receive the healthcare quote from.
Second by Brady.
All those in favor say aye.
Yes.
Aye.
Yes.
Opposed? Carries. So, do we open this before we meet at 1 or after?
I would like to suggest we set it aside
Yeah.
until we go into our afternoon
I
session.
would agree, because we have a 1 o'clock proposal also, so at that time we'll open that and check it out. Okay. There's no others, and we did receive a letter from LPN Agency who says they are not interested at this time. Is that what I gathered from that? Okay. All right. New business, claims.
Got a copy of that? Thanks. I'll make a motion to approve pre-authorized claims and open claims presented for payment between 10/7/2020 and 10/20/2020. That's a lot of 20s. For check number 142136 to 142260. E-check number 1400 to 1418 for a grand total of $581,177.92.
Support.
Discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Johnston,
Yes.
Knut,
Yes.
Brady,
Yes.
Brumman,
Yes.
Motion carries. Anything else from finance? Elaborate on it this time, or
What's that?
anything else from finance at this
Oh,
time?
well, finance report's not until after all this is over,
Okay,
but
got it. All right, first item, MIOSHA draft of COVID-19 preparedness plan, which.
About a week or so ago, you all received a copy by email of the plan itself. Some of what the plan directed was that we develop a COVID-19 preparedness plan, and that we develop a COVID response plan. Those are attached and all at your place. We also needed to identify safety coordinators, which you can see on what you have in front of you. We held a senior staff meeting on Monday, designated the site safety coordinators, as you see the list there. We also had extended discussion regarding the preparedness plan and the response plan. Probably there's a great deal of parallel, as Gary alluded to, between this and many of the prior governor orders. The biggest thing I think that we need to be sure that we address today and make a decision on today, if we can, is how we are going to handle visitors coming into the building. There is wiggle room for interpretation. If you want to be a purist, when they arrive at the front door, we should require name, address, and serial. I'm sorry, I was being facetious.
Name, rank,
Serial number.
serial number?
Name, rank, and serial number. Yeah. Name, address, and phone number, and then ask the same screening questions that we are all asked every day that we come in, regarding abnormal temperature, travel, possible exposure, and how are you feeling today? Do you have a cough? You all know the questions. We could do that. That would require, and from the discussions and so on, would probably require both of our upstairs and our downstairs dorms manned or ladied, depending upon how you want to look at that. Each person that would come in, they would fill out the appropriate forms, and then they would be able to proceed to whatever window or office they needed to go to. We also would have, I started to say confronted, and I really don't want to use that word, but these folks that came to our meeting, they would have gone through the same thing. We would have to have someone at the upper level, someone at the lower level. I don't think they would be either contractual, which is an option, and we went down that path a little bit to see if we might have some people. We could possibly get approval for spending the cost through one of the grants, but that's not firm. And another option that was discussed was, well, let them come into the building, but if they want to or need to go into an office, cross the threshold and go into the office, at that point, the office would ask name, address, phone, and ask the health questions. Dave has done an outstanding job of plexiglass on practically every place in the building. So I think our folks are pretty well protected, and we do ask for masks if you leave your office in the hallway. Certainly wear a mask during your office when you're at your desk if you choose to, but we really encourage it if you're going out into the hallway. You may encounter or may meet up with someone. If we did not have someone at the door greeting everybody, someone said we needed a Walmart greeter, then you do have the individual who is potentially carrying COVID, either early stages or maybe they just don't have any symptoms. If they come in, wander around, and use restrooms and all of that, then they are leaving, potentially, those germs behind. These are two options that I think we need to
But
discuss.
that's not one of the options in here, right?
Yes, it is.
Where's that at? I didn't see anything about the visitor one. This pertained, I think the one that workplace controls.
Well, it's the second one from the end under preparedness. Each office shall maintain this is what the group kind of decided on, and we are bringing to you because you're, as the Board of Commissioners, are making the final decision. Each office shall maintain a log of those visitors who have come into their office with not less than a name, address, phone, and the health questions as asked for all employees.
Okay. Well, I'm okay with that. I mean, that's coming into the office. That's not coming into the building.
Correct.
Okay.
The way it's written up, yes, that would
Okay. Mm-hmm.
only be coming into the office. But as I said, and was brought up at the meeting Monday, there are a lot of people, maybe not a lot, but certainly people, who come in who potentially could be sick, and their illness could spread germs within the building. We do not have employee-only restrooms. The employees use the same restrooms as do the public. I'm not particularly advocating for either one myself. It's a decision the board needs to discuss and then decide.
So are you, after all that, is this a motion to approve this as we're,
Ultimately, we need to approve, and this can go back to the drawing board,
okay,
but we are obligated by the new MIOSHA regulations that came out to adopt a COVID-19 preparedness plan and a response plan, and to identify site safety coordinators and to indicate what their obligations and responsibilities
so
are.
I do believe we do have a COVID-19 preparedness plan in place that was approved by DHD and this board.
We do have a DHD one, but this is a
These are,
MIOSHA.
these are additional things that
These
MIOSHA
are-
has requested, so the two would live together.
Oh, absolutely could live
Have
together.
still both in place, these are the meet the MIOSHA requirements, okay? Okay, all right, so is this, are you making a motion?
I am not making a
You
motion.
just,
I
you should
believe,
have been back under presentations then.
no, thank you very much.
Okay.
Not, new business is fine. But, I mean, just because our employees felt that this was probably, and please, we've got two of them, no, one of them sitting here who was at the meeting, and please, you know, if you felt there was anything different or whatever, I welcome having her chime in on it. I think, yeah.
So this is
Oh,
not coming
no,
as a recommendation from personnel, this is informational.
This is not personnel. Personnel held the meeting.
So who designed this? You, personnel did this, right? You gathered information from the employees and said,
I would get, yeah, well, we're presenting it back to the board from the
Yeah.
From the department heads, yes.
And this basically is lifted from the, 10, 12-page MIOSHA.
okay,
It's plagiarized and gravely condensed, as you can see.
so are we gonna make a motion here, or are we gonna,
Well, are you going to make a motion that's going to incorporate what's in this that says only going into the office? The offices that I perceive as being most vulnerable for this are Register of Deeds. These ladies, I mean, the plexiglass, I think, is doing fine. And the courts, of course, and equalization, Register of Deeds, courts, and prosecuting attorney's office has a number of people coming in.
The recommendation will bring us into compliance if it's only covering people that go into the offices, by your interpretation. Yes or no?
it's, so, we've had a
Yes.
discussion about this. My opinion is that the MIOSHA rules do not explicitly say that every visitor into our building must have temperatures and,
But it does say visitors.
and that is because when you look under the explicit directions to certain industries, there are two industries that do require visitor temperature taking and whatever else you gotta take. That's casinos and doctor's
Manufacturers.
offices. No, doctor's offices. So those two are required to have visitor,
And they're already doing that.
Screenings.
They have screeners.
Visitor screenings.
And they do it up at mental health too,
Right.
when you go in for their meetings.
Our building is a public building. There's nowhere in it where it says public buildings are required to do visitor screenings. Those two are. Talking with Tom, I think he would, I don't want to speak for him, but you can't have, I don't think you can have explicit directions that are considered implicit for everybody. So it is explicit for casinos and it is explicit for healthcare.
But
But
also,
that doesn't mean it's
it
explicit for
does
everybody.
say visitors.
But that is under, where it says visitors is when you file your report, you must include your employee screenings and your visitor screenings. The visitor screenings are for casinos and for health care doctors. There are two entities that must have visitor screenings. Not everybody, two.
But I believe that where it says visit, like,
Just a quick question. I mean, this is something I don't even know an answer to, but all those rest stops along the highway, when people get off to use those, are they going to be
Those public
screened?
rest stops? No, I don't believe they are. And I don't believe they have them at the county or
Well,
the Capitol
I'm
building.
just trying to use that as a.
So I'm okay with, I think our offices, so I think the way it's written is proper, that we have installed barriers to protect our people, and if we keep the public on the opposite side of that barrier, if they cross that barrier and enter the office, then they're required to meet the same protocols as employees do, which is
and I'm fine with that.
all that.
I'm not opposed to that at all.
We've increased our cleaning and somebody could be driving by here and not even be a resident of Alcona County and see a public building and come and use the bathroom.
Absolutely, it happens.
Public building.
If you're in the building very much, you see that on a regular basis.
So I mean, if somebody would like to make a motion for this.
I will move that we adopt the workplace controls, the COVID-19 preparedness plan, and the COVID-19 response plan as presented based on the MIOSHA October 14th.
Second by Brady.
Moved and supported. Can't be any more discussion, can there? I mean,
I agree.
Well,
I do have one question after you're done.
no, go ahead.
I was not at the meeting, but I was filled in for my deputy, and we are to, as safety coordinators, we are to direct all workers who are sick not to report to work. Has that been determined on how that is working? Are they using sick days? Are they, so if someone has a cold, they're directed not to come to work? Is that my understanding?
yeah, I think that was under our original one, wasn't it? Under the previous one.
I just wanted to know how that's being handled as far as pay.
How they're paid?
and We're directing
Did
them
we
not,
talk about
we're
this now?
telling them not to come to work.
Yeah.
We only talked about if it was COVID related. And how do you know?
Yeah.
You could have symptoms that somebody could translate into being, oh, I'll bet that's COVID, when all you got is a cold.
Or a cough or a sneeze or.
You know, I
Your
mean,
directions are saying.
like me, I didn't take my allergy pills, so.
I'm directed them to not come in, that's all I'm asking,
Yep.
how that's handled.
So.
Are you guys some feedback on that?
Just a second, Lenny. So, I think that's a question that you guys have got to look at.
Well, I think we go back to the district health one, when we said if it's COVID related, they get a pass.
We would cover it, and I think that's how we did it with
We
EMS.
capture those in these grant
Right.
funds.
So if at the end of, so initially it's gonna be, you use your own sick time. If it's found to be COVID-19, you'll be reimbursed? Is that what we were doing?
You would be recredited with that.
Okay. So you wanna do a little background personnel on that and write that up as that's how we're gonna go forward on?
We can do that, yes.
So did you want?
Do you want that to come back to the board?
Yes, please.
Okay.
And we'll, that way it'll be, I think that was how, I mean, we haven't had any of that happen, have we? Have we?
Well. Being handled.
All right, we voted here, didn't we?
No.
We didn't vote, we have a second, and we have a motion.
Yep.
Okay.
Am I allowed to ask a question? I don't know if it's on the time.
Sure, you're
If it is, I can.
one of the supervisors or one of the people we're gonna
Yes,
give a job.
Jennifer was at the meeting, so
Okay.
I welcome her.
Yes,
One of the questions I understand you're getting ready to pass is that the screening would be required by employees in their offices to screen visitors. Is that my understanding where we're going?
only if they enter the office.
So the courtroom is a court office?
No.
So we have a
'Cause
lot of people in the building.
Right.
And we're not asking them. to
I
come,
think
we're
that's a court
requiring them to
decision.
come.
Well, yeah, and I'm only gonna, I can only speak to the earwarming talk I had with the chief judge several months ago, that the courtroom is public and can be entered by and that it will not be made
Oh,
unpublic.
that's funny.
Well, and we're requiring people to come.
Right.
No, we're not asking, and Supreme Court is also requiring us to do some sort of screening mechanism, which we've,
So I would say we will defer to whatever the court wants to do when it comes to that. The courtroom specific. I mean, so we're not closing the building.
Right.
And we're not requiring visitor protocols at the doors.
Okay.
They will be allowed in the building. We'll defer to the court system to decide what they want to do with their courtroom.
so that'll be within the scope of our manpower and how we screen, just so I understand.
Yeah.
What about the screeners that you can actually, the kiosk screeners? Possibly grant money for some kiosk screeners to put upstairs and downstairs? That would solve the screening issue altogether.
Well,
Who's going to
Provided-
monitor those screeners?
Provided they voluntarily do it. Somebody, you still need a warm body to make sure they do the,
Not
Well,
really,
no.
you could force it with ropes.
But
Well,
my
it's something to
question-
look at. I mean, I
my
don't-
question is who's gonna clean it after every person touches
You
it?
don't have to touch it. You look into it,
Yeah.
it scans you, takes your picture, sees if you're, have a temperature or not. And if you have a temperature, I'm sure it will blink, do something.
we don't have enough information to make any decisions on that today.
I think there's a-
going forward, if it seems to be, if that's a decision between closing the building and maintaining operations with an open building, with visitors still coming in, we'd probably look at it at that time, but I think that's, if I could,
Getting ahead of it, but unfortunately, they are available and
any other discussion? We have a motion, we have a second?
Thank you.
All right, we'll vote then. All those in favor of adopting the COVID-19 MyOSHA preparedness plan with the workplace controls, signify by saying yes.
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 Aye.
No?
I will vote yes. All those opposed,
No.
say no.
Well, we were just going around in order.
Yeah, so the motion passes, carries. All right,
Thank you.
all right.
Patrol car bids.
Patrol car bids. So we did have two cars that were put up for bid or out for bid. And we received some. Accept the motion to receive the bids.
I'll make a motion to receive the bids.
What's your support?
Second by Bridget.
Any discussion?
Don't you hold those up to your forehead?
What was that? Where you do
Karnak.
that? Karnak, yeah, I was like, all those in favor of accepting the bids, signify by
Aye.
yes.
Yes.
Aye.
Yes.
Opposed, no. All right, and you don't have anything, anybody got a knife on him? Less than 3 inches?
Do we have to sort it out now, or can the clerk just sort it out?
Less than 3
No,
inches?
we have to accept their, I guess,
Doesn't
did
go
we,
across my
we go
hand.
lowest bid or?
Not necessarily,
Yeah.
because they have to,
I think we'll open them now, and
Can you tell me who you're opening, Craig?
Yep. I will. This is from, well, return address, I don't necessarily know if that's the one.
and the other one's an open
Da-da-da. Paul Noonan,
Here, you gotta get it all written.
And Joanne Woodward?
Which one it says on the bottom?
yep, 80,
80.
says 83 GMS. Bid for the 1983 GMS. I don't know.
And what's the 1986 Ford?
We'll look at that in a second.
That ad, what am I selling?
Form. So this one is from James Chase. Paul Noonan again. Must be for the other vehicle. And this is from Jess Walker was the final one. So my highest bid let's look at the Noonan one. This is an 86 Ford. So I don't think we can accept that because we don't have an 86 Ford. The years were a 2013 Chevy Impala and a 2016 Chevy Impala, I believe. So we have a bid for an 83 GM something and an 86 Ford.
Is it on the bid form?
Nope, it's just written on. So I'm sorry, Mr. Noonan, I don't think we have anything that would meet that. I don't know which one goes to what. Yeah, that goes there, and then the bid, we have two on a bid form. And the high bid would go to Jess Walker.
Well, what are the bids?
So for car number 1, the high bid was $31.26. For car number 2, the high bid was $51.26.
What was the low bid?
On this sheet, low bid was $23.50 for car 1 and $40.50 for car 2. So based on that, I would say that Jess Walker would have both.
So you actually had 4 bids, but from 3 people.
We had, we had 4 bids from 3 people, correct.
Okay.
So
The guy that didn't make it, what
Did
was
you
his
check the
numbers?
postmarks on those ones from Paul Newman? Maybe they've been lost in the mail for years.
September 28th, 2020, yeah.
That's good.
I don't know.
Did he have numbers in there though? I mean, what was his offers just for giggles and grins?
1,600 and 2,050.
So he's well under anyways.
Yeah, it wasn't even there.
I would move that we award the vehicle bids to Mr. or Mrs. or Ms. Walker.
I will second that.
The one in $3,126 and the other vehicle for $51.26.
Right. So discussion?
Seconded, yeah.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Yes. Does it have to be roll call since it's money or not?
I think so. Thank you. Yep. All those opposed say no. Motion carries. I put all the other ones in there and that's in there.
There you go. Save the county.
$8,000, whoopee.
All right. Patrol car bids. So we all set on our motion, we accepted and got everything stuff?
Carried?
Yes. All right, designated assessor.
I would move to approve the Alcona County designated assessor, Alan Berg, in the contract as presented, authorize the chair to sign, providing it is returned with no changes.
I will second that.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any questions, discussion? I did not bring my copy in, so I'll assume you guys read it.
Yeah.
All right. Any other discussion? Hearing none? We'll vote. All those in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Aye.
Yes.
Opposed? Carries. All right, CRLGG grant. So the CRLGG grant, and I'm going to lean on you a little, please, Cheryl, if I mess up anything. Did anybody else do the 13th meeting? There was a webinar.
No, I did not.
I tried to watch a replay and it wouldn't let me.
Oh, so it was, it was fairly informative and gave a timeline of things that have to be done. It was pretty clear to me that the entire amount could be used for payroll and public safety or any other designated COVID-19. Do you agree with that, Cheryl? So I guess we need to have a recommendation on what we're going to do with the money. We can, I think there's 95,000 came in under that. Is that the right number?
Well, keeping in mind that the 55 of that was already earmarked for other
55
things.
was going to be here for,
We had already planned on that.
right.
But you hadn't planned on using it for payroll.
That's true, that's true.
Well, it's all in the pot, so. I mean, we didn't have the revenue sharing designated for anything specific.
It's all in the pot till you get sorted out to an auditor.
Yeah.
True, but
So, she's looking up the amount.
It was 92 or 95.
I would make well, I don't want to make a motion as the chair, but I would.
You
I
can
would-
absolutely make a motion.
Yes.
Yeah, I know I can, but I'd rather not, so.
Had the policy, and I support the policy. It should not, generally speaking, it should not.
Right, so, I mean, my information, and I would like to see that the whole amount be put into public safety payroll. And it will backfeed the general fund, it'll do it that way. That would be my.
And that's an appropriate legal use of that.
Correct.
Okay.
We do have a reporting date requirement, and I don't have that in front of me. So whatever we do use it for, it has to be reported.
I think it's 26.
Yeah, I think it's this end of this month. So.
I would
coming up.
move that the CRLGG,
Let me,
That's right.
let me give a little, that we would, let's move for that with the sheriff's concurrence, and he'll document the hours and give all the information. Scott, are you watching? I did
Yes,
talk
I'm
to
here.
him.
There you go.
No, wrong Scott. Scott Stevenson.
I am here, but I was talking to somebody briefly. I missed what you were asking.
So what we're talking about is the CRLGG, the revenue money that came in
Right.
instead of our, and we had talked earlier that
Yep.
we would just put the whole 90-some thousand into our public safety payroll.
Right.
And you can come up with some justification on the hours and write that up so we can submit that with our report.
Yeah, I sure
That'll
can.
work?
Yep.
Okay,
It doesn't overlap with previously, the money or the funds that he's already turned in. for
Right.
this other grant.
it can't be used for any hazard pay or anything like
Right.
that. It can only be used for.
Right. The other grant that I have, the CESF grant, covers for overtime. So I'll just make sure that we're not covering it for that.
It's all straight time or benefits, yep.
Yep, because what the overtime that I had to be specific for if we had somebody off for COVID or COVID quarantine, when we backfilled on that. So that grant's very specific. This grant is very wide open for straight time payments. So we'll make sure there's no overlap on that, and shouldn't be a problem.
Okay.
I believe that 911 qualifies in that general category for public safety, and my question is, why are we not considering them for a small part of it?
Because they have their own
Because it's,
millage.
Generally.
they have their, I mean, it's county money. This is county revenue sharing that was been taken, or not
Okay.
taken,
All
but
right,
changed.
revenue sharing, that's okay. But, okay.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the revenue sharing is to go to the general fund. And as my department, out of the general fund, and 911 and EMS are not, I think that's probably more appropriate.
You're on that board. We had to try, Scott.
I hear you. But I still think this is the right way to handle it.
I would agree.
All right, we have a motion. Is there support? And then any other discussion?
Oh, I'll second.
Okay,
Second
any
by
other
Brady.
discussion? Everybody understand where we're headed here and what we're doing?
This is $90,000.
90,
Can't find it.
90
90 plus.
90 plus thousand.
This wasn't part of the one that we're getting county-wide. I mean,
No,
this is a different
this is
pot
a
of
different.
You remember we
money.
were supposed to get 55,000 for our
Revenue
revenue sharing, but we got 95,000. But
Okay.
the whole
Well, we
amount
got
had to
zero
go
for
towards-
revenue sharing.
That's what I mean.
We got 90, whatever.
No, I'm good.
Yeah,
I
that's
know
what
where
it
it's
was.
at.
It's-
So you got a motion in a second?
Yep.
Any other discussion?
We'll have to roll call this one.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah.
All right, roll call, please.
Johnson,
Yes.
Brady.
Yes.
Benoit,
Yes.
Brumman.
Yes.
Motion carries. All right, thank you. And we'll get that report in. That's the first one, and that'll be it. All right, let's start with, is that everything except those resolutions? Do they have anything else?
No, CBDG,
CDBG. I didn't have that on here.
CBDG,
It was asked.
community block.
Okay, I missed that. Sorry, I didn't write it
It's
down. Okay, what do we have on that?
The committee met Tuesday, I think? No, had to have been Monday. We met. Don't know when. I thought I put this in front of you.
Yes.
Oh, I did, thank you. Yeah, you already have a copy of this. I thought you did. When we met, we had extensive discussions on the best use of this. I will tell you that I spoke with my contact, Bill, and they, not him, rejected the rent for the chamber. Interestingly enough, they also rejected the mailboxes that we put in to minimize contact. I
That doesn't make.
had a little struggle with that one. So, anyway, we have come up with what you see in front of you. Equipment and supplies at 10.5, telephone system at 35, fiber optics for the emergency for EOC at 80. The communication trailer needs new batteries. They were used for the COVID testing over at Alcona Health Center, and they're kind of on their last leg. They took a partial charge, but not a good one. That's the 600. Fire departments, we end up with approximately 15,000 for Raiders and Curtis Township submitted a request for $200. That one could argue, but apparently before our county clerk was able to supply all of the local government with masks and with sanitation, but they apparently did not know that early on, and so they purchased material and made masks for each of their election workers for August. That was $200. Eoc Technology Updates at 37. One of the things Bill said, I want to make sure that you use all of it, so I want to have you come in over. The amount we actually have is 143,000, but you'll see that totals to 145 because he indicated that he wanted me to exceed the amount. None of this is cast in stone. And I have sent this to Bill and have not heard back from him. It's very possible that some of this isn't going to fly.
Is it cast in anything substantial, or? Because this would be, so the radio situation that changed a little bit, less people were interested in getting radios?
The committee felt that the other things were more important.
Well, the fiber to the EOC would be.
And Scott, you feel free to jump in on this at any point. They and Jeff were as you designated the committee at the last meeting. The fiber optics jumped forward, and it's like, EOC is so essential to us, so important.
Yeah.
Someday,
well, that'd be great.
We're going to really, really need that.
Yep.
And if they would be willing to go with that.
Yeah, I agree with that, Carol. I think that's highly important that we get that EOC upgraded and brought in the 21st century for when we do need it. It's pretty important.
That's a great idea. Great. I'm all for it. So this is just point of information, or do we have to prove? You guys have already done it.
At some point, we're going to have to approve.
So do you want us to adopt these recommendations?
I think it's perhaps a little premature because if Bill comes, like for instance, the mailboxes, I was sure the mailboxes would. I mean,
that made sense.
I agree. It was so COVID related.
So is the committee's request carry the same weight as this board's request, or does this board have to make these requests?
This board's got to agree, ultimately.
So then we should adopt these requests by the committee and make them as a board?
I'm tempted to say it's informational at this point, but I do want to hear from you if you think any of these are really out of line or something that we shouldn't even be considering.
So is let me read this right then. So what Bill's doing is going to vet this out. I mean,
Correct.
what we're going to submit is something that will eventually be approved, is what he wants to do. We're not,
This has already been submitted to Bill,
okay,
and he's
You
weighing.
just wanna know
through-
if there's anything we don't approve of or
Okay.
approve of or think.
I mean,
beyond.
if Bill
I
were
get
to
it.
say, hey, your list is great, everything on it's gonna be great, I wanted you to know what I submitted, and we
Yep.
will have to come back and
Okay.
say yes, or tweak
at
it.
that time, so we're gonna vet it out, make sure it all will fly, and then we're gonna say,
Correct,
this is, okay.
correct.
got
But
it.
I wanted you to know where we were on it.
Okay. So, you or Scott, whoever, so I know that Harrisville Township was looking for 800 radios. Are they on this, Scott, or is this nobody specific with the 15,000?
This is nobody specific.
Okay. All right. Anybody else have any? So this is information only.
Correct,
Okay.
at this time.
Yep.
It may come back to you exactly like this, or it may be modified.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, let's do the,
I'll bring forth my resolution that I proposed today.
well, just a second. Yeah, I think you were first.
Yep.
All right. And what would you like, Gary?
Motion to pass.
All right. We have a motion to adopt the resolution. What's the title? Where is it?
Resolution is to impeach and try.
Adopt the resolution to impeach and try the governor.
On our unconstitutional.
Impeach the governor.
acts.
All right.
I don't see a second coming, so.
Well, I get to do it. Is there any support?
I can't support it, so.
All right.
And,
Sorry, I don't know. I don't have my.
I'm sorry.
All right. Hearing no support, I would say that the motion dies for lack of support.
And then I'll bring up the next one, the 2A one, and we've got at the last meeting.
All right. So we have and what was the title? I don't have that one in front of me.
Oh, gosh.
Sanctuary County. Or
Constitutional
Sanctuary County. So I think it didn't come into new business, just to give a little background. We sent that to the prosecutor and the sheriff. We have the sheriff on here. Scott, did you get a copy of that? Scott Stevenson?
Yep, stand by. I was looking for the unmute button. I got a copy of it with the meeting minutes, but we've never been asked formally by the board or anybody to give a formal opinion on it. I don't want to speak for Mr. Weichel, but whether you vote for this or don't vote for us, we've taken oaths to uphold the Constitution, and that this resolution doesn't change our oaths to continue doing that one way or another. So this really resolution is up to you guys whether you are going to pass it or not. It likely is not going to affect how the prosecutor does his job because he's taking the same oath as I have. And we're pretty steadfast that we're going to uphold the Constitution either way.
I think that's basically what it says, is that we would uphold the Constitution, not necessarily any amendment in particular, but the entire Constitution.
No,
So
the title has 2A in it.
It does have 2A in it, but it also has a few more constitutional implications in it as opposed to the previous one.
is not, though, the reason that we go constitutional. I mean, I'm speaking to you as the one who brought it, so
Yep.
is the board okay with that? That you wish it to cover all the Constitution. I mean,
That
obviously
is-
2A is what your thing is, but
Right.
freedom of speech, freedom of gathering, freedom of religion, all, I mean, which is what I thought.
It's all implicit.
When it is when it's referencing the Constitution in general, you're not being particular to one amendment. You're trying to talk about all of them. Okay.
Lawful,
And I believe,
sanctuary, constitutionally
you have a
sanctuary
copy?
for lawful abiding citizens.
I know I looked it over last time, I don't have it with me.
I don't have it.
all right. All right, we have a motion Right? We have support.
I'll support.
So we have discussion. Hearing no discussion. And absent any other motions,
I guess we vote.
we're gonna vote. All those in favor of adopting the,
Resolutions are roll call.
yeah, I'm sorry.
No,
So
it's
the,
okay.
the motion is for the adoption of a constitutional sanctuary county.
Second Amendment
It's
is in the title.
constitutional Second Amendment sanctuary
Yes,
county.
thank you.
It specifically relates to the Second Amendment, but
Correct.
all of the Constitution is implied in it.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, I thought so. All right, so that's what we'll vote on, and we'll do it a roll call, so. Steph?
Brady,
No.
Drummond,
Yes.
Bernard,
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes. All right. So I did appreciate that they, well, I don't want you to get into all that.
Thank
So,
you.
motion passes. All right,
Is that based on the presentation from last week, that exact amendment, or that motion is based on?
the last meeting, that was that is the
The resolution.
resolution, yes. Okay.
Right, I understand. Now, will that, when the Andersons brought up about being able to bear arms at the election, does that, that has nothing to do with that?
Now, the resolution only says that, well, yeah.
The newspaper is gonna say something completely different than what the resolution is.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you right now, but
Yeah,
here we go.
so, well, I'm not gonna speak to how the resolution is. The resolution clearly says that the sheriff and the prosecutor determine constitutionality. At this point, I would believe that both the sheriff and the prosecutor are gonna believe that this is constitutional, what has been done. So there will be no changes.
Right.
That is where, I don't wanna speak for you, Scott, but the way the resolution reads is that the sheriff and the prosecutor will not enforce any unconstitutional law.
Correct.
Yeah, I believe
So-
that's how it reads, and like I said before, we've never intended on doing that anyways, with or without the resolution, so. Like I said,
agree.
the resolution doesn't change how we're doing business.
Illegal here.
Yep.
in the state of Michigan.
So if you get it.
So,
oh,
the
never mind.
orders from Jocelyn
Don't-
Benson do not apply and will not.
All right,
Well, they can
For
recommend
election workers,
for election
how do
workers.
they know?
I sent an email to all of the clerks of what the state has recommended.
Yeah.
And that's all they can do is recommend.
And I'll tell you right now,
And it
my
should change.
recommendation is no confrontation is worth your vote, so.
all right, well, we'll continue on, and you guys can chat that. I think that's all we have on new business, correct?
No, we have a closed session on the union contracts.
Seeing nothing else, I think you're right.
Is it possible that we get rid of all the other business and do the closed session before we go?
Yes.
I think we
recess?
have, we
Yes.
don't have anything else.
Well, I have
That's what
something I gotta bring
Oh.
forward from finance.
Okay, that's, all right,
I need to make a request to transfer $10,000 from line 101-000-699-514 to 101-101-801-000 legal services.
You can't give me the numbers at the first, 101.
000.
You can't transfer from a revenue stream to an expenditure stream.
We talked about this earlier and you didn't bring this up then, so.
101
I guess I have
000 is a
to-
revenue stream.
Never mind that one then, I guess. Then I don't have anything, so I'm good.
okay.
Am I in error, Madam Treasurer?
I'm sorry.
Nah, I'll take care of it later, Carolyn.
He was going to transfer a 101 000, a revenue stream, into an expenditure stream.
No, it would have to be an expenditure.
expenditure to expenditure, or you could move a line item.
Into a revenue line and then,
No, that's why I asked everybody earlier, so I wouldn't avoid this issue right now, but, so, thank you.
so you're gonna hold that?
Yeah, I guess so. Sorry.
All right. Well, let's have a finance report.
Well, you know, I might as well look dumb anyway, so, finance report, we're working on the budget. Dan's out of town, stalled a little bit because I've been extremely busy at my, regular job. But, this afternoon I plan to work on, I wanna get together, I haven't officially announced or asked, requested, but I'd like to see if I can get together with the clerk about, filling in the remaining items on the 2021 budget commissioners, or however you call it, and there's a couple of, departments that aren't filled in yet, and just wanna talk to them about it, make sure we get that done up. Dan and I would like to have some kind of final presentation on the budget sometime early November, I'm sure. Otherwise, I'm just working on pushing money around to cover the gaps. We got some pretty big issues in 2020 to resolve, which until I have the numbers better, I don't really feel like bringing them forward right now.
Okay.
But we'll talk about our next meeting.
All right. Any questions for Lone Ranger? Hearing none. Personnel report?
I'm the Tonto, just so you know.
I think we've covered everything that personnel's been involved in.
Yeah,
Okay.
we just had that meeting Monday, and that's about the basics of it.
Okay. Treasurer's report?
Been working with, clerk's office and finance, in regards to the 2021 budget. And obviously you all know the review that I sent of the retirement and the MERS information. There was some questions in regards to that. I haven't heard a response. We have a 1:30 meeting for finance. Don't know if that's gonna happen or not, because we have a presentation at 1 for the insurance, but you can let me know if that's gonna happen or not.
I don't know why we can't still do that, because I can bow out of the insurance meeting early, let everybody else look at it. Right now, we got the, I think,
Clerk's office will be in this meeting for sure with the health insurance. So just do it after health insurance meeting.
sure, sounds good.
We just got confirmation of all the bids that we had for the last auction, which I had mentioned. I've done, tentative, information regarding, the prior 10 years of tax sales and information on reserves of what we'll have to have in the case of any future litigation in regards to tax foreclosure, and I have approximately just under $900,000 that would be a liability to that fund.
How many years is that back?
That is 10.
10 years? We don't know that year yet, though, do we? That's like a worst case?
That's at this point. There are also a few other questions, because in the past, it's never been based on an individual parcel. It was a collective. If we had 20 parcels and we sold 15 of them, all the taxes got paid, so it wasn't on a per parcel basis, which is what I've had to do, is go through and determine. So there is some money still gonna be owed to the tax revolving fund, because it was paid out of the tax sale fund to pay off the taxes for other properties. But in the case where we have taxes that were not paid and they were paid by the proceeds, which is what the situation was, the recommended protocol for the county, so that will have to be replaced as well from that fund, which will pretty much clear up that fund to not have much of a balance except for liability, possible pending liabilities.
And we don't know yet what we're gonna be able to use that, or time and effort put against that, and any expenses. I mean, they're still determining that, correct?
What do you mean time and effort?
Well, so we'll talk about it after. I don't wanna talk about it in an open meeting, so. But anyway,
Okay,
all right.
that's what I've been working on.
Yeah.
That's what I got. Is there any questions?
Nope. All right, first clerk's report.
I got a hold of, Tony Rajinovich from MERS. Trina and I both spoke to him. He will be here. He was in Traverse City today, so I wasn't able to be here. He'll be here for the November 4th meeting in regard to the actuarials, and he'll explain how and why we under budgeted for MERS for 2020 and probably how better to budget for 2021. I also received from MERMA that it's called a CBIZ report. I don't have any idea what that stands for, but it was in regard to the property appraisal that they came and met with Dan and Dave, and they went around to all the buildings. So that updated report is in here, and it shows what we were previously, the appraisals, the amounts, and what the new appraisal amount is. So I don't know if someone wants to look at that, or
I computed all of those from the old to the new, and the greatest one was a 0.7% modification.
overall, it's quite a large number. I'm curious to see what that's going to do to rates next year.
Not on the property. I don't believe. Well, we can look at it and see, but I think.
Yeah. And that's all I got.
All right, communications. Did you receive any? Did you?
No, I didn't have any.
All right, committee reports. Gary?
Met with mental health. They're doing well. They're winding up having to give money back to NMRA, which is okay. I mean, they've spent everything they could legitimately spend with all their COVID funds. Met with Mitchell Township, Curtis Township, I think. Went about getting a new assessor, and I think the last thing they dealt with was the Vaughn Lake issue. Other than that, not much else to report.
All right. Adam, you have anything? Carolyn?
LEPC meeting was held. Our mitigation plan is still being worked on at NEMCOG. Primary on that, under the Huron Huron undercover activity report is being passed out now. We adopted the budget for this coming year, and there are activities that are happening down in Alcona County, unfortunately, but they also are being addressed, and that's a fortunate thing. The meeting was held here in Alcona. We are rotating our meetings now. Burn Grant received about, normally would have gotten $128,000. Both Lieutenant Sharp and Rhonda, our secretary, did a really good job on writing that grant this year, and they got $141,000, so about $13,000 more than would have been the norm. Last year, they also, because of the writing of the grant and the good job they did, we did better with the burn grant last year also. The other thing that I had, the 211 board meeting, as others helped during the flood time in Midland, Gladwin area, 211 has been helping with the floods in Louisiana and Florida, answering, responding and answering phones for them from their overload. Our full budget for next year will go to our full board meeting in November next month. And I think, seemingly there's one other thing, but I think that's basically all that I had. And we've been playing with COVID. No, I haven't been playing with COVID. We've been responding to directives regarding COVID.
Okay. All right. I have nothing more to add either. So public comment, 5 minutes per person? For 5 minutes per person, yeah. Anyone?
Yep. Oh, you guys love me, you know it. So I wish I had gotten here earlier so that I could actually remember to have said something about Gary's resolution in regards to impeaching Whitmer, and it just seems like a no-brainer to me. It's been proven that her executive orders were unconstitutional, flat out unconstitutional, the whole gambit. And so now she's laid the burden on MDHHS and OSHA and all those various and sundry other health departments, as well as the trickle-down effect to our local health department. I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's right. And I think Gary's resolution spoke to that. So I wish I could have said that sooner. My brain is always perfect, especially when I'm 5 minutes late. As far as the Second Amendment, I would like to thank you for the approval of that resolution. I will be passing on to my people that our general rule of thumb is going to be no confrontation is worth your vote. So, open carry at your own discretion. Here in Alcona County, open carry here in the state of Michigan is legal. So here in Alcona County, with the passage of this resolution, and frankly with the previous resolution, you're not going to get prosecuted for appearing at the polling place. So, but again, confrontation does not trump your vote. Wink. And it seems like, yeah, okay. Oh yeah, I was going to say that Benson has no legal authority to do this. Nessel knows that as well. So do a lot of prosecutors across the great state. And so know that her orders are also unconstitutional. So she needs to be kept in check, which would have been nice for Gary's resolution to move forward, but that's okay. So, okay. Thank you very much, you guys. Thank you for all you do. Really good.
I have that.
All right, any other public comment?
Yeah, I have something. I don't know who else is
Yep.
gonna stand up.
Yep, got you, Lenny. I was coming to you guys. So, Lenny, you want to start?
Yeah, let's start with the nice stuff first, and then we'll circle back to some concerns. The Oconee County Commission on Aging is having its trunk or treat. This was picked up because some of our other events in our county were canceled. It's going to be Friday, October 30th from 5 to 8 o'clock, open primarily for Oconee County residents. For those individuals who have kids, we're suggesting social distancing and wearing a mask, but we're not going to have Gestapo on the street to enforce it. This is a family-friendly event. I will say that first and foremost. So please respect others as you attend. Today at the Oconee Recreation Area, or ARA site in Barlow, there is a pop-up pantry for those individuals who are seeking food assistance. Unfortunately, we were not able to win the grant. Ourselves and Gordon Foods were not able to win the grant for this coming quarter, which means from October to December. It was awarded to other cities, which doesn't mean that we won't provide food or pop-up pantries. It's just we won't be able to provide as many. Before we were able to provide one once a week, we may only be able to provide one a month. Okay, so I guess you guys, Carolyn, you've talked about, or I guess the secretary asked the question about requirement vacation time for people who are taking off for COVID. I forwarded each of you in an email the law that talks about the Family Cares Act, basically that those individuals do not have to take personal vacation time because that would be reimbursed to you as a tax credit, so that there is a pool of money that you can pull from to pay those workers, and it does not have to hit their vacation time. So just make sure you guys are aware of that, and your personnel and HR are aware of that, because you can get yourself into trouble forcing people to take vacation days when they don't have to. And also at the bottom of that information has the requirements. So if they go underneath the doctor and the doctor tells them to quarantine for 14 days, guess what? They get 14 days. That's them.
Yep,
That's
that is how we've operated, Lenny. That is
Okay.
how we thought that was. Yep.
Okay, good. I wanted to put that in there. Okay, my last and final thing, I'm not going to get on this, but here's my question. When a resolution is passed by this body, is this a resolution that the body is representing or the county is representing? And the reason why I ask this question is that I believe that it's important not to keep your own counsel, that you get public opinion, that you bring some other voices so that everyone feels like they have a seat at the table, regardless if we have the same views or regardless if we don't. The county is 69% one way and the remainder is the other. We don't have a bully pulpit government. We have a representative democracy. That means everyone with a voice is represented by their leaders. So my question, and I guess I want to ask, is that when you guys pass a resolution, is it a resolution for this board and body, or is it on behalf of Oconee County and its residents?
All right. Does anybody want to tackle that question? I see shaking of heads, Lenny. I usually, when I start answering questions, I get in trouble, so I don't know if I want to.
What do you think it should be, Lenny?
I'm not elected. I'm not a county official. I'm a tax-paying citizen that's asking
And
this government.
as a tax-paying citizen, what do you think that, what meaning do you attest or believe should be placed when the Board of Commissioners, the 5 people that sit at this table, pass a resolution? What do you think it should mean?
Our founding fathers put together one of the greatest document in our Constitution that said, we the people. It is a representative democracy. Regardless of who is in power, place, or position, it is a representative democracy. So if we are to pass resolutions, I believe that everyone should have a seat at the table to voice their concerns, fears, objections, and even if they're overruled ultimately by the vote, that there is another voice in the room that is not their own. Now, none of you know where I stand politically, but I'm just saying this as a general aside because I am apolitical. I represent everyone in this community now with this job. So that is what I'm saying, is that as a community, I haven't read this, and this is kind of things that I like to know. I haven't read this constitutional sanctuary resolution. I'd like to see it. I like it to be posted so we can all see about it. And if we agree to it, hey, maybe I could affix my name, or somebody from my family or somebody in the community could affix their name to it. So that's my question. I still would like for you guys to answer that question and not pass it on to me, because we elected you.
Lenny, I would say this is that this is a representative democracy here. There's 5 different districts in the county. Each one of us represent a district, represent the people in that district. Many have heard from the people in their district about this resolution, the 2A or the sanctuary one in particular. We probably had about 100 people here when we went over this last time, and I've received input. I don't know what the rest of the commissioners are. So there's background information on this. There's been talk and background data on it that we've all had. Now, to add to the other one about everybody has a say. So we also, and this kind of comes back to where you're at, by resolution, we approve a millage on the ballot for ACCOA. Now, we don't require everybody to come in here and say yes or no. We make that decision as a board because we think it's in the best interest of the county. Now, there's going to be, I know for a fact, I've gotten comments from people who say, I don't want my money going there. But I still vote in the affirmative because I think that's the best thing for the county. So the idea of marching everybody through here and having a say, I get plenty of say personally from people. But at the end of the day, I got to come here and make a decision on what I think was best. And so I do think it is great that we are a county that respects the Constitution, all amendments of the Constitution. I mean, that was a change that group made because this board stood up and said, we're not really ready to say this is a 2A sanctuary only county. We respect the Constitution as a whole. So that's why this has come up again, and there has been a back and forth and a give and take. So I don't know if that answers your question.
It does, but I want to clarify that the millage proposal is different than a resolution because the consumer and the voter do get a say because they get to vote no or vote yes in the affirmative. So that's different than
But it doesn't, except that this board determines whether or not that even goes on the ballot.
Okay.
Regardless,
I understand.
That's secondary, Lenny, but we did, the process is there. We had our last meeting, it was on the record. And if people are paying attention and want to know, the information is available. What we don't do is every resolution gets posted on a billboard. The information is available to everyone who is interested to pursue it. I was a no vote. I have gotten feedback overwhelmingly negative to it. So I based my decision on that because representative of the people who could communicate with me. But the problem is that not enough people choose to participate in local government. So something will come up. By the time it makes a newspaper and they put their spin on the headline, now it's all outrage and, pitchforks and torches. So, the process is there. The information is available. I guess it just needs education on the public part to be able to want and need to pursue that information to be informed.
I understand, and I'm not trying to cause a problem. The first resolution that you guys passed had public comment on that, and then the second resolution that was an amendment of the first resolution went by last week, and it was submitted. So that's what I was just asking, the process and format.
Sure.
That's all.
Okay.
Can I add just, no, okay.
All right. Anything else, Lenny?
That's it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Scott Rice, do you have anything?
The only thing I have is I met with the personnel committee and we talked about the assistant director, EMS director's position for next year. Personnel committee should have that recommendation or request. And hazard mitigation plan is still underway with MCOG. They're still working on it. The one thing they talked about is combining a couple chapters together and some changes in strategies, and those are all state approved, and they'll just be a blanket change across the state.
All right. Any questions for Scott? All right. Thank you. Scott Stevenson, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. I don't have anything other than we've seen a real uptick of serious mental health issues lately. That's a little bit alarming. Between the prosecutor, they were trying to determine whether those are chemically induced or if it's truly mental health issues. We're not sure, but some real bizarre behavior lately with some folks that we've been dealing with. It's been a big problem. Other than that, nothing else.
All right. Thank you. All right. I don't think we have any other comment out there.
No, it's closed session now.
So, we need to.
Carolyn just left.
You wanna come
Recess
back
and
a
then
little
go into-
early? You wanna recess, come back a little early and do our closed
Yeah,
session
we
before?
can do
Let's
that.
do that. Commissioners, additional comments and concerns? Anybody wanna, nothing, nothing? All right. So accept the motion to recess until, let's do, 12:45.
I'll make that motion to recess till 12:45.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye, yes.
All right. Motion carries. We're in recess until 12:45, thereabouts.